Hey, welcome back, agents, to another episode of Prime Tips. This time we're talking about loadout cards, remote gear, transfer, all kinds of good things. And we've kind of talked about the loadout cards when we talked about bio cards, but we're going to jump into just the cards this time and see if we can find more stuff out about them. So they are still around. You can use them. We'll tell you about how you can get them, what they are. And a lot of people hang on to them. We'll tell you why that is. But probably your first question is, if you've never seen one, what is a loadout card? Well, they are physically printed cards. They have two sides. I need to make sure that I covered up an important part of this side, because they have a one-time unique code that is on the card. And they usually have a lot of gear and a lot of good gear. So you have a common, which strangely enough you don't commonly see common cards, loadout cards. And then there's rare and very rare loadout cards. And they have things like Adas and Jarvis on them. So they're really sought after because of that and other reasons. So let's take a look at some of them. Now, there's different types of cards. There were cards all the way back in 2015. Cards from these cards here are from 2018, 2019. I think these are 2019 cards. So they change over time, but the basic idea stays the same. So an old style, that's a 2015 common loadout card. So you can see that there is the card itself that has loadout and has a date and some stuff. And then it's covered over, but there was a code there. And then they told you what was on that card. So this particular card, there's a couple multi-hacks, a good number of resonators, power cubes, and XMPs. Now, those would be to the highest level of the person redeeming that card. So if I was, say, a level 5 agent and I redeemed that common card, I would get level 5 resonators. I'm pretty sure that's how that worked. Very rare portal shields, just a couple of them, and a couple of heat sinks. So that was the card. That was a common card. Then you have the rare card. And basically the rare card gives you rarer or more rare items. So you get an idea of what it looks like. And the important stuff of the card, although I like the graphic on this one, is on the back. So you flip that card over, and there's the rare loadout card, and it tells you what's on that card. So looks like we have an Aegis shield, four rare multi-hacks, 20 power cubes, 20 XMPs, 20 resonators. I think that's 8 heat sinks, an Ada, a Jarvis, a quantum capsule, 4 portal shields that are very rare. I think that's 8 rare portal shields and a SoftBank Ultra Link. Now, in the white area that you see on the bottom of that card, that's where the code would be. Now, that code is a one-time, one-use code. So if you're showing somebody one of these cards, you don't want to do something like that and show that code, because they may use it. And if they use it, then this card is dead. So that's also something, if you're looking at, quote unquote, buying a card online, eBay or someplace says, hey, I've got loadout cards, and they'll say they're unused. It's a duck shoot. I wouldn't do it, because more than likely it's just a used card that they're going to send to you in the mail. And when you try to use it, the code's no good. They're not going to be able to do anything about it. Niantic's not going to do anything about it. You're out the $30 or whatever you paid for that card. So let's look at a very rare card. So the very rare card, again, you'll notice it's a little different. And again, this was the 2018, 2019. Just the rare cards had kind of a silver, and the very rare were gold. And again, the good stuff's on the back. You flip it over, and it looks like we had 2 very rare Aegis shields, so you doubled up on the shields, 8 or 9 multi-hacks, 40 power cubes, 40 XMPs, 40 resonators, so doubled what you had on the other one. Looks like 8 very rare heat sinks, 2 Adas, 2 Jarvis, 2 Quantum Capsules, 2 Very Rare Portal Shields, and 2 SoftBank Ultra Links. So that's a lot of gear at one time. And again, on the side, you see that I've covered over with the white. That's where the code would be. And that you just enter in that code just like you put in any other passcode when you're playing Ingress. So, how do you get these things? Well, it used to be that when you signed up for an Anomaly or some other events, you would have choices on different supporter kits. So you may have to pay a little more for the very rare supporter kit as opposed to the rare supporter kit. Sometimes they gave them away as prizes and things like that. If it was at an Anomaly and it was an Anomaly that was quote-unquote manned or had Niantic staff there, you would pick it up in a registration packet, something like this. And so there'd be like a registration packet that you would have, and it would have all kinds of goodies and swag and stuff in it. And inside there would probably be some character cards or some bio cards and loadout cards and other things, stickers and that kind of stuff. They also offered kind of the same thing through digital readiness kits, which would be sent by email. So the only way that you could get the packet, the supporter kit, was somebody physically had to go to the Anomaly and pick it up. Now, you didn't have to do it. You could have somebody else pick up your kit for you. They didn't like to do that, but they did. But really the idea was you had to be on the ground at the Anomaly to pick up that kit. And also, that gets you into registration, then know you're there and all that other good stuff. So it kind of did a double duty. You can still kind of get them. With year 10 of Ingress coming around, they have the Series X kits that are available online. So you can go to NianticSupply.com and you can see which kits are available, and you could purchase them that way. They had a bundle at one time, but I think they're all out of the bundles, and the kits kind of come and go. So you may not, if you see it today, it may not be there tomorrow. You kind of have to watch what's there and when it's available so that you can get that stuff. So why a loadout card? Why not just give us codes, or better yet, just sell this stuff in the store? Well, selling it in the store, they do, don't get me wrong, they do sell things in the store, but there's a little bit of an issue that when you start to sell fairly pricey items in the store, that they're going to lose out on money. It's what it kind of comes down to. So with apps on either an Android phone or an iOS Apple phone, that's anything that's sold in one of the apps that's through either Google or Apple, that's considered a microtransaction. And those companies take 30% payment out of that. So, if it's $100, they get 30 of that $100, and Niantic would get 70. So it's very advantageous for them to sell these high dollar items in their own store. Now, you can't really have it sold within the app directly, because then they're going to see it as a microtransaction, and we've seen that in the news that they would fight and say, hey, we want our 30% and all that other stuff. So they just avoid putting this kind of stuff in the store. That way they don't get into the idea of it's a microtransaction and Google wants 30% or Apple wants 30% of whatever you sold. For players, it is a good way to get special gear for special events. When you went to an Anomaly, you needed a lot of gear. So it was really nice to have that card. But, the seasoned players, and I think I was kind of one at that time, wouldn't redeem those cards at an Anomaly. You would do your best to get all the gear that you needed before you showed up, so you wouldn't have to redeem that card for a couple of reasons. One, as far as I know, these cards do not expire. So that code is good for, I want to say, as long as we play the game. I can't guarantee that. I mean, these codes are, 3 years old, 4 years old? The only way I would know that they're good is to actually put it in. And then you have the thing is, if this card happened to have an MFUG capsule on it, which it doesn't. Do I get the MFUG or do I get something that's like the MFUG? So there's some things there. But the big thing that a lot of agents like about a card is that you can transmit it verbally or visually. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's say that you have an agent on the ground, you have a big op, and all of a sudden, here comes a blocker. It's going to shut down the entire operation. So this agent gets into her car or his car, takes out, gets to the portal, and starts to attack, but doesn't have what he or she needs to kill that portal. Maybe they don't have a Jarvis, they don't have an Ada to flip it, or they don't have, it's different now. Now you could actually use a battle beacon, but let's say that they, there's a, the portal's there and there's a beacon on it, so they want to try to flip it with an Ada or a Jarvis, and they don't have one. What are the chances of them hacking one are very, very small. So somebody in your operations may say, hey, does anybody have a loadout card? And if they have the loadout card, then you can take a picture of the code or talk directly to the agent and say, okay, here's the loadout code. Bing, bing, bing. They put it in. All of a sudden, they've got all kinds of gear. So it's not something that they have to be in a location for a drop. You could send this verbally around the world. And so that's another reason why they're really highly sought after, is because they are so good at giving gear and so versatile in how you can use them. So there's a loadout card. If you want to, next time you see me in the field, hey, give me 4 or 5 of these. I don't care. I'd love them. But I'm hoping that I'll see you in the field sometime soon. See you later, agents.